Hi friends, this is Lulu here. A lot of us are probably living in the United States, where the presidential election result is going to come out in a week. Some of us might be wondering, what's going to be the future direction of this country? I am not expert in politics, but I do have some experience in personal finance. In fact, personal finance is one of the top topics that I intend to share in this channel with you guys. Today, I'm going to share with you my Financial Peace webinar from back in 2020, which was also an election year. The webinar was based on Dave Ramsey's best-selling book, Total Money Makeover. The Financial Peace webinar provides a very practical curriculum that works for any time and any president. The webinar talks about
one of the key principles of investment is that time matters a lot more than timing.
For example, we should try not to panic sell our investments due to fear of recession. Instead, we should follow the wisdom of Warren Buffett, who once said, "We continue to make more money when snoring than when being active."
I've been working in the high-tech industry for a decade now. I realized that I am paying a lot of tax, paying a six-figure tax. I have always been interested in financial peace. This is, in fact, one of my key goals as a holistic investor. Here, I put together the 6 steps to reach financial peace. It's down the curriculum of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. In addition, I also modified it based on California. If you have some kind of debt, no worry, because you are not alone in America. I am a pretty tool-oriented person. As probably back in college, took a course called accounting. It's really useful. First one is about the flow, and the second one is about the balance. What budgeting really is an activity that you wrote down your monthly income expense by category, and then to see how long it will take you to reach your financial goals. I've been doing home sharing on Airbnb. In the United States, we have so many types of insurance all over the market. Regardless of all those complex financial modeling nowadays they run on Wall Street, in fact, it's pretty simple. There is this long-lasting formula that has been there on the wealth. It's called the wealth formula. No matter you have a primary residence home or it is investment property, the tax benefit is just wonderful. You are qualified for RAS investment, then please do consider that, because it's really great when it comes to capital gain tax. It's basically you pay the tax today, especially if we think that tax in the future is going to be a lot higher than today, and that the government might be more broke. Hi everybody, I really appreciate your making time today to come to my sharing of financial peace. And the reason that I want to host this talk is because recently there have been a lot of uncertainties in our economies. For example, back in March, stock market crashed multiple times, which overall decreased by over 25%. And for me, myself, I experienced a lot of anxieties just back then because of all the unexpected changes. In addition, nowadays we have coronavirus still going on. We don't know how long they are going to last. So it's really important to strengthen our financial foundation in this quite special and challenging time so that we could be able to have a relative peace of mind. And what I'm going to talk about today, the scope-wise, it's a big picture overview of the key steps to reach financial peace. I want to point out that the content is 100% organic. I'm not going to recommend any products whatsoever. First of all, a little bit about myself. I basically view myself as a very diverse person, both in terms of life experience and in terms of work experience. Overall, when I was at Stanford, I became quite interested in finance. I took that as a concentration. Then after I graduated, I've been working in the high-tech industry for a decade now. I have plenty of interest in helping, like working at different high-tech companies, helping people solve problems. Meanwhile, I also developed interest in real estate and insurance. I got licensed in them. One of the turning point for me was that after working for high-tech industry for many years, I realized that I am paying a lot of tax, paying a six-figure tax just to IRS, not even talk about California tax, property tax, etc. That's when I realized that it's really important to be diverse in terms of our career. For example, 1099 for self-employed folks, there is much more flexible tax. And that's when I decided to become a holistic investor so that I can be able to have more peace of mind with my more balanced portfolio. And then it comes to my passion. I have always been interested in financial peace. This is, in fact, one of my key goals as a holistic investor. And Dave Ramsey has been my favorite mentor throughout the years. I have listened to his podcast show. He wrote several bestseller books on Amazon. So for those who don't know Dave Ramsey, he is a Christian leader who lives in Tennessee. He has been for almost 30 years helping families in America to get out of their debt, to be able to build up the wealth, and then to be able to reach their dream as a family. So I definitely look up to him when I'm thinking about how to reach financial peace. Also, there is an interesting fact by Dave Ramsey. He said that personal finance is 80% behavior. The majority of it, in fact, is no rocket science. It's really about modifying our behavior, building up good habit, and anyone can be very good at their finance and reach their peaceful mind state. Here I put together the 6 steps to reach financial peace. These 6 steps are based on the curriculum of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. In addition, I also modified it based on California because I think most of us live in California here, that there is quite some unique characteristics that our state has, such as the high property price. As you can see on this page, the left hand has the basic steps, whereas the right-hand side has the more advanced steps. So today, we are going to cover step 1 to 5, because these are the ones that are most relevant to most of us. And then also with consideration of time. And then also note that the left-hand side are the prerequisite of the right-hand side, that we need to make sure the basic things are finished before we move on to the more advanced things. Last note is that step 4 and 5, the protection and building wealth for family can take place in parallel. Here is step number 1, which is debt management. If you have some kind of debt, no worry, because you are not alone in America. In fact, so many Americans for many years, many decades have been burdened by loans such as credit card debt. That's why it's important to have a comprehensive look of the categories of debt that we have, then to put together a plan as a family in order to get rid of our debt. I want to point out that consumer debt-wise in United States, the highest one is home mortgage, but that is actually a good debt. And that I will talk more in step 5, building wealth, because home mortgage has lots of benefits for our families, such as being tax deductible. Then look at the next 2 highest amount of debt, include student loans and credit card debt. And these 2 debt are very important to get rid of. For example, I noticed some credit card company charge almost 20% of rate. So the next thing we want to think about is how to clean up our debt. I highly recommend Dave Ramsey's snowball approach. As we mentioned how important behavior is over here, it's important to list our debt item by item, and then to tackle the smallest amount first. Then we will have a sense of accomplishment in our heart, and then be very motivated to tackle the next bigger debt. There are other helpful programs by nonprofit companies to consolidate our debt that you can also research online. The next step is emergency fund. In fact, a recent survey said that a third of American respondents, they didn't really have emergency fund in place. That's something really important, because emergency fund really protect our families in case something happens. Take COVID as an example. Unfortunately, due to this pandemic, some bread earners of the family lost their jobs. Then they, without an emergency fund, might have challenge with the most necessary things for their families, such as food, shelter, and medical expenses. So yes, it's really important to make sure once you pay off your debt, have an emergency fund in place. And that's about 3 to 6 months expense of the family. The last step of the basic half of financial peace plan is cash flow. The reason that cash flow is important is because our monthly cash flow is a very good indicator of our financial picture, how strong we are. Say we have cash flow, we have basically net income that is positive on a monthly basis. It means that we have savings. Little by little, we can have more and more savings to reach our future goals. And for me, I am a pretty tool-oriented person, having worked in tech for many years. So I like to leverage my knowledge from the school, as well as software, speaking from the nerdy part of me. So when it comes to the knowledge from school, a lot of us probably back in college took a course called accounting. It's really useful for me to manage my own personal finance. It's pretty simple, actually. Accounting comes down to these 2 key formula. The first one is about the flow, and the second one is about the balance. The first one was a positive net income. It means that we are strong in terms of our financial picture. And the second one shows us our financial position as time goes. In terms of the tools, you can just simply use Excel and then to do some financial planning. Other tools that I recommend include Mint. It's a free service online. What it does is that it grabs the backend API data from 20, 30, some people even have 50 plus financial accounts, and then it shows you what's the real-time transaction. It's really helpful because not only can you track your many accounts data easily without having to memorize the password, but also to check for red flags. Nowadays, there's credit card fraud and those things. You can check it very easily. And then one of my favorite financial planning activity is budgeting. What budgeting really is activity that you wrote down your monthly income expense by category, and then to see how long it will take you to reach your financial goals. For example, if you are tired of public transportation and you want to get a car to make your life easier commute to work, then you wrote down a plan to save $1,000 per month. And after a year, you can buy a pretty decent used car. Other budgeting activity include activity, so certain action you take to reach your long-term goals, such as retirement. But that is a very big topic with lots of scopes, so we are not going to dive into it today. Then I have a tip on improving income for those of you if you're thinking, I don't have enough positive net income to reach my financial goals, such as saving for a home's down payment or other things you want to do, then you can consider the gig economy. Nowadays, it's pretty cool to do things such as ride sharing, food delivery. Personally, I've been doing home sharing on Airbnb. I genuinely enjoy the guests from all over the country, even all over the world. I have the flexibility of choose when to host them. And last but not least, I really appreciate the additional cash flow that is on a monthly basis. Now we are moving to the more advanced half of our financial piece sharing. Over here, the first one is property protection. In other words, protection for a family means insurance. In United States, we have so many types of insurance all over the market. So here, for simplicity's sake, I group them in 4 buckets based on their primary purpose. The first bucket is about the things that we want to protect against damage, such as if you have a car, you want to have auto insurance. If you have a home or rent, regardless, it's important to get insurance for where you get shelter from. Then the next one is health insurance. That I want to say out loud, it's a must-have in the United States. It's so expensive, medical care in this country due to a variety of reasons. And if you are on W-2 payroll, be very thankful for your employer because it's such a blessing. They get you on a group plan, get you covered at a reasonable cost. Whereas on the other hand, for small business owners, self-employed folks, it could be quite tricky. So definitely it's worth it to do your research to figure out the best available plans, including the deductibles and other factors for your family. The next one is long-term care. So for those of you who are not familiar with that, that's for senior citizens to protect their wealth in the case that they need some basic needs such as eating and bathing. A lot of us don't know that how important this long-term care is. That's why I'm using the data from the facts. It shows that the majority, almost 70% of those turning 65 today, they need some form of long-term care. And in the future, that even could be even more. Again, this is another topic that we won't expand here, but things down the road could be social security that we pay today that might no longer be there when we need to use it 20, 30 years down the road, which means we really need to take more initiative to protect ourselves. The last one is life insurance. Life insurance is basically if someone accidentally died, then there will be insurance to protect his or her family. It's recommended, especially for families with kids, because they have dependents that depends on the bread earners of the family. There is, in a nutshell, two types of life insurance. The first one is term insurance, and the second one is permanent insurance. The key difference between the two is that permanent insurance, in addition to having the insurance part, it also has the cash value part that will accumulate in value as time goes on with certain tax benefits. It's a more innovative way for insurance company to combine family protection with investment. Also, we won't expand over here today because life insurance itself is pretty complex. In order to determine the best fit for a family, there are a lot of factors you can refer to. So over here, this one is called DIME. Feel free to take some note if you're interested and look into it, do some research online, or can contact me afterwards. Oh, another note I want to point out is for term insurance, if you are on a W-2 payroll, then your employer might have already got you covered. If that's something that you haven't really got to take a look to check because your work is just so busy, then feel free to just like in the future when you have time to look at your company's site. And that's usually proportional to your income a couple of times more or a few times more. The last advanced financial piece step that I like to talk about today is building wealth. In fact, this is my favorite step. The reason is because here is where we have so much to learn and apply to our own family's asset allocation. In Dave Ramsey's Live Like No One Else After You Live on Rice and Beans. So yes, this is a very exciting financial piece step. And then building up wealth is the means that the family can be able to reach their both short-term and long-term goals and their dreams. And there is a, regardless of all those complex financial modeling nowadays we have, or I learned from my financial engineering class back in school, nowadays they run on Wall Street. In fact, it's pretty simple. There is this long-lasting formula that has been there on the wealth. It's called the wealth formula. So money, it grows as time goes. That's why we look at long-term investment because our money grow. And then that's something we can count on. And then it fluctuates based on the market returns. There is good economy and there is bad economy. So it depends. Then our money, it lose value due to inflation. Inflation is about 3 to 4% every year. You probably noticed that movie tickets a lot cheaper 10 to 15 years ago versus nowadays. The last one is tax. Tax, as I mentioned earlier, it's pretty huge. it in California can easily be the highest liability of a household, a lot more than other things such as mortgage. And when it comes to the type of investment, personally, I'm a big fan of real estate. That's why I slice and dice it into a real estate and non-real estate. For real estate, it's pretty great to hedge against the inflation over here. In addition, it has wonderful tax benefits. No matter you have a primary residence home or it is a investment property, the tax benefit is just wonderful. For the mortgage interest rate, that is usually a large amount of money on a monthly basis. You can deduct all of the mortgage interest from your tax to the IRS. In addition, for the primary residence, you almost pay zero capital gain tax because if you are a married couple, as long as you live in your home for 2 out of the last 5 years before the sale of the home, then you are tax exempt on $500,000. That's pretty amazing. Even for California, where we have a significantly higher income than the national average, $500,000 tax exempt on capital gain is just wonderful. Then we have other types of investment, such as stocks and mutual fund. So if you are not familiar with mutual fund, it's basically a portfolio of stocks and bond with the ratio contingent on your age, your risk profile. Last, for the retirement account, I want to point out that if you are qualified for Roth investment, then please do consider that because it's really great when it comes to capital gain tax. It's basically you pay the tax today. You put say 100K in your Roth, and then after 30 years it becomes 600K. Then for the $500,000, you don't have to pay any tax on it. Especially if we think that tax in the future is going to be a lot higher than today due to who knows whatever reason that the government might be more broke. It's different hypotheses that again we won't dive into it today. And last, I want to point out that one of the key principles of investment is that time matters a lot more than timing, because time in the wealth formula is something that we can count on. Our money grows as long-term investor. You see the index funds such as S&P 500 or the other ones that they do grow significantly as time goes with a pretty decent average rate of return, versus timing is more about speculation. To me, it's kind of like gambling. And this is just an illustration to show us that the power of money compounding. Say for your retirement planning, your goal is to have $1 million when you reach your age 60 or 65. Then if you start as early as in your 20s, you only need to put a 3-digit amount, 600 plus per month. But if you didn't think a lot about it until you're in your 40s, this amount became over 2,000, 4 times more. And then I also want to share a simple math formula with everybody here, which is the rule of 72. So this one just tells us how many years it takes for our money to double. It makes it pretty easy to calculate it. For example, if the rate of return in the market is 6%, 72 divided by 6 is 12. It takes 12 years for money to double at 6%. if we have a higher return of 9%, then it only takes 80 years, a lot shorter. This is the last slide. It's a recap of what we talked about today. The table has the key financial pieces that's both for the basic ones and for the more advanced ones, so that we can be able to reach our dreams as a family. Then it's Q&A time. So if you have any questions during the previous half an hour and then you want to ask me, now it's the time. I'm very happy to answer anything. And sorry if I put you on mute, so feel free to unmute yourself. Oh, I see that there is a question in the chat from David. Are there any nonprofit I recommend for debt consolidation, especially for student loan? So I personally don't have recommendation for that, but I definitely look up to Dave Ramsey. He has pretty amazing resources on his website, and then he has third parties that he work with for the long term. So yeah, you can go there, take a look and see if there is any third party that could be helpful to you. Also for me, to Bob's question, where I got my tax training. So I got it hands-on from filing my family's tax. I also have a wonderful CPA firm who helped me. So I learned so much of practical knowledge from them.
But I think somebody else had a question. So
so David, thank you so much for sharing. So Nerd Wallet has this insurance and then index life insurance. So if you're interested in it, feel free to research online more. So index life insurance, it's better than whole life. That's what I can say, because it's a more innovative product. It has flexibilities of your if you like have some other financial goal for your family, you can take a pause on the payment. Usually there's just a very little penalty to no penalty if you reach a certain number of years. So index life insurance, it's a good permanent insurance product. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, really happy to discuss with you guys in the future, because I think sharing makes everything better.